Are there any drummers in the house?
I play percussion.
That's because he couldn't play anything else.
Shut up.
Come here, dude.
Hey, man. Did you touch my drum set?
Nope.
It's just weird, because seems like someone definitely touched my drum set.
Yeah, that is weird. 'Cause I didn't touch them.
I am warning you right now, if you touch my drums, I will stab you in the neck with a knife.
Not quite my tempo. It's all good. No worries. Here we go.
Hey guys, be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. It does really help. Also, 5-star review ratings does as well. So if you can review the podcast and leave us a nice comment, that would be wonderful. If you have bad comments, just keep them to yourself. We don't need that negativity. But yes, subscribing to the podcast is super easy, especially if you have an iPhone. If you have an iPhone, you have a podcast app on your phone. So just open that bad boy up, type in the Drumheads Podcast, and hit subscribe. Once you hit subscribe, you will be automatically downloading all the podcasts, which really helps out. And that's it. See you guys. Hey guys, welcome back to the Drumheads Podcast. This is episode 79. Can you believe it? 79. Cranking them out, son. Cranking them out. This is Eric with Azturk Cymbals. And this is what I love about the internet is that we can have Skype conversations while we are in 2 different countries at the same time. Ugh, love technology. So yes, Eric is the CEO of Azturk Cymbals, and they're a Mexican-based cymbal company. And we just had a wonderful conversation talking about how that you can take something, they get their cymbals made in Turkey, but then bring them to Mexico, and then, but they've added their own spin to it, and they're working with some of the finest Turkish cymbal manufacturers in Turkey. And again, the wealth of information I get from every time I interview somebody is such a great thing. And for Eric to, sit down and talk to me was such a privilege. And just, you get to really understand how these companies, function, and their processes, but also their commitment to their customers, which was great. He was talking about how, day or night, 24/7, their customer service is on board for any questions you got. So, I been following them for quite a while on Instagram, really love what they're doing. And, he brought up a great point that I really wanted to, talk about in the intro was, that education is what really is going to change this world for the better, and that we both agreed that it doesn't matter whether we come from a different culture. He being from Mexico and being Mexican, I'm an American, but from a Mediterranean background. That we can all get together and have something in common, which is drums, but also educating each other, and talking to each other. I think it's so important. I think that's what's wrong with so many things in this world is we don't talk to each other. We don't take the time to ask questions and just talk to people and who are come from a different background so you really understand what's going on. And it's just something that during this conversation just really stood out to me is that we're both drummers, and that's what makes us in common. But we're human beings in this big planet called Earth. And it's like I said, it's an inspiring story to hear the work that they're doing and how they're reaching out to educators and, putting their cymbals in the hands of educators because education is the great equalizer for all of us. The more educated we are, the more better of a society will be. And so thank you, Eric, for being on, and thank you for your inspiration. Just a couple of days after Martin Luther King Day, it's great to have these moments of conversation and to keep the spirit of Martin Luther King going on and bridging the gap between, 2 countries. I'd like to think that this podcast has that ability to knock down, invisible walls or ones that some orange clown wants to put up between us. No, I want nothing. I don't want a wall between us. I want us to be open and have an open dialogue with each other and talk to each other. And this podcast was great. I loved it. So, everyone I do is great, and this was one of those that just kind of like woo, it stood out to me. So yeah, so here it is, episode 79 with Eric from Azturk Cymbals. Check it out. Hey guys, welcome back to the Drumheads podcast, and I'm joined by Eric from Azturk Cymbals. How are you, Eric? How's your day going?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. I enjoy, especially talking to people who are in the cymbal industry. I find that so fascinating. You know, just the art and the way it's produced is such a fascinating thing. So
definitely,
thank you for being on.
My pleasure.
Let's just start. I guess to start from the beginning. Just tell me a little bit about your drumming background. You know, did you come from a drumming or a musical family?
In fact, I do, and I started like most of us started. You know, I started with my mom's pots and the diningware and all that stuff. You know, and when I grew up, when I turned 18 years old, and I was able to get my first job. The first thing I did is, I went and buy my first set of drums. It was, like a really cheap one, but it was good. It was good enough to spark that flame and get something going on. So I started playing drums. I'm kind of a latecomer. Started playing drums. Like I want to do this for real. When I was 18 years old.
Oh, okay.
And 6 months later, I was already playing gigs at bars and stuff like that. And I do, in fact, come from a musical family. My mom used to be a great singer. My grandfather and my father, they were percussionists. They were playing salsa and Latin gigs back in their time playing. But yeah, I do come from a musical family. I have influences within the family.
There's two type of people. There's people like me who come from a non-musical family, and then there's like have your family members that sang or played guitar or did things like that. And so your dad and your grandfather both played percussion. So what, they just play like congas and or cajon, or was it drums, or was it a mix of all of it?
Yeah, well, it was my grandfather. He used to play in a band, in a presidential band here in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
It was like a really really good gig. He was in the military, and then my father was a percussionist on several salsa orchestras here in actually where we are right now in Mexico City. That's where he used to work for the most part, and he played. He was a really good player. He used to play timbali, bongo, congas, and whatnot. The Latin stuff.
Oh yeah, that I always find that so fascinating, because I didn't come from that background. I come from a Mediterranean background, so it was not a lot of percussion instruments in that. So I'll put on for my kids. I'll put on some old Tito Puente. I'll put on some mariachi music and stuff, just to like let them absorb that, so they can have like different sounds, growing up here. Because it's easy to get stuck in your mindset of the music you grew up with, and that's it. I want my kids to be exposed to Latin and Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, all of it. And
that's awesome
to get a real good basis of just music in general. So
yeah, and definitely. The way I think is, music is not just music; it's a way of life. And I cannot think of, what anything I do. I cannot think of it if it's not with music. Wherever I go, when I'm on a plane, when I'm traveling to other places in the world, I always want to have I have like something playing in the background, like a soundtrack for my life and everything. And it makes you happy. It makes you look at things in a different way, no matter what your mood is.
Yeah, I hear you. I always make a soundtrack for my life as well. Like I have like playlists of like different seasons, that reminds me of like, oh, that reminds me of autumn or fall and summer, and things like that. And it's like a soundtrack for your life for sure. So who was that first drummer that really like stood out to you and made you want to be a drummer?
There was a very famous. Well, actually, he's still active. His name is Alex Gonzalez from a Latin American band called Maná. They're like very big in the scene. Like in Latin America, they're really big, and the people who speak Spanish, they know who they are. So this drummer really inspired me into picking up drumsticks. And I wanted to emulate what he was doing. But he introduced me to the drumming world, and I got interested on learning. Okay, well, if you inspired me, who inspired you? And I went on to find Stuart Copeland from the Police and John Bonham. Those are like his main influences, and he was like the drummer who opened that window for me. And then I as I grew up and I became more interested on drumming, and I since I was like 5 years old, I knew this was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, for a living. And we'll get to that later, but I still drumming regardless of if I'm now running a cymbal company or whatnot. The dream never died. I kept it alive, and so those were like the first 3 drummers that I heard of. And there's also like Vinny Colaiuta, Dave Weckl, Steve Gadd, my favorite. And then I basically anyone who's ever picked up sticks is an inspiration to me because I learn from everything. Okay. And now that we're running this cymbal company, I am privileged, and I'm really I have the blessing of being able to talk to my drum heroes, and they now use our cymbals. So that's something that's something really incredible.
Yeah, that's a huge compliment to to have your idol almost, but like I love your cymbals. You're like, no, I love your drumming.
Yeah, I always I get calls from drummers that were like my influences when I started drumming, and throughout my drumming life, they were like very big influences. And now to have them come to my house or have them invite me to their houses, meet their families, it's something like incredible to me. I wake up every morning and I don't even believe it.
I hear you. Like when I've interviewed one of my favorite drummers, and I'm like, is this really happening? I can't believe it. But yeah,
been there, done that.
Yeah, I got introduced to Alex through it's Gonzalez, right?
Alex Gonzalez.
Yeah, he did a Police tribute album with Marco Minnerman, I think.
Yeah.
Or not a tribute album, but like it did something.
It was like an episode for the Drum Channel, I think.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And that was the first time I really saw his playing. I'm like, I like this guy because he had that that Stuart Copeland
vibe going on.
Yeah. And I'm like, this guy's really good, and I follow him on Instagram and stuff like that, and he is a fantastic drummer, and I love his kit. He's got such a awesome looking kit, the custom shells and all the cool cymbal toppers he puts on, and looks like a great he's a fan of drumming for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I remember wanting to emulate his every move, and it's been almost I think it's been over 20 years already that I heard from them from the very first time, and I still I still use some moves that he came up with that he uses on my drumming, like some certain kind of fills, I still use them. So he left a huge impact on my playing, and also I think he's listening to this. I always wanted to have the opportunity to meet him in person and tell him, how big of an influence he is to me.
Cool, nice. Yeah, well, that's awesome. There's just so many, fantastic drummers that people just don't know about sometimes, and you're like, how do you not know this person? Especially in the internet age, it's almost impossible to not, hear about somebody. But it happens from time to time. But,
well, back in the day, it wasn't like that,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, when I'm 33, so I don't know how close we are in age. Or
I'm turning 32 this next month.
Okay,
on the 7th.
So we both grew up in the time of you really had to seek out to like find stuff on drummers you really liked. 'Cause the internet was just it was dial up. It took you 20 minutes to do anything. And you had to have a friend that had a VHS tape of a drummer that they recorded off TV or something like that, and that was especially for me, that was the way I learned about a lot of drummers, or just someone handing me a CD and like, hey, check this out, and it's a different time for sure.
Yeah, but it was a fantastic time. It
was a treasure hunt.
The music industry is evolving really fast, and you have to keep up with it. Back in the day, you could actually make a living just playing drums, but now you have to be proficient at being recording, producing, promoting, and all of that. And back in the day, you could it was simpler back then. It's getting more sophisticated over time. So but it was a fantastic time for sure. But I wouldn't trade it for this time that we're living in. Because back in those times, you couldn't even imagine having the opportunity. I'm currently in Mexico City. Where are you at right now?
I'm in.
Where you living? Where are you?
Asheville, North Carolina. So in the mountains.
So it's like 5,000 miles away from where I am right now. So that's something. No, not actually 5,000 miles, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
We're really far from each other, right?
Yeah.
But now with these technologies and the internet and everything, we are, I'm hoping for a world that is to become more connected instead of more separated.
Yeah.
With this technology, so
it definitely does make the world seem smaller for sure. These days, where I can get on a Skype call like this and talk to you in Mexico City. I've had people on from at one point I was doing a 3-way Skype conversation with a guy in London, and then a guy in Brazil, and then me in North Carolina, all at the same time. It's just like, this is amazing.
Definitely.
But we're all connected in the fact we're all drummers too, and the drumming community is such a tight community. Everyone's got each other's back for the most part, and there's not a lot of
I just love it.
There's not a lot of animosity, and I hear some drumming in the background.
Oh, definitely. Well, we are recording demos for some of our new series made in Turkey.
Oh, okay.
And we are privileged to have today demoing these cymbals. 5-time Grammy Award winner. One of the best drummers in the scene here in Mexico. His name is Luis Huerta, and he is currently working with a Mexican artist. Her name is Lila Downs, and their music is amazing. I definitely recommend you to check it out. You're gonna like it. I guarantee for sure. So we're I came over to Mexico City to work on some distribution stuff. There was a lot of work to do. But I already, finished doing that, so I'm going back to our, to the city we work, we live in, and it's been such a great ride,
So do you?
It's awesome to be able to do this.
So do you live? So you live in Mexico and in the U.S. or did I get that wrong?
Well. No, actually, I live in Mexico.
Okay.
But I live in a city that is really close to the border. It's a very well known city if you say its name, pretty much any American will know where it is.
Oh, okay.
And will actually, want to go there, because
Mm-hmm.
of many good things that city has. I live in the city, and we're based in the city of Tijuana, Mexico.
Oh,
we are,
okay.
where we're next to to San Diego, so we are based in both Mexico and the United States.
Oh, okay. That's what it is. Okay, I got you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So, so I guess to move on to your cymbal company, I want to take a guess on how the name came about. So it's Azturk. So I'm guessing that the Az part is for the Aztecs, right?
Definitely, yeah.
And
You got that right, yeah.
And then the Turk part is for the Turkish cymbals, right?
Yeah. That's how it came about.
I like that. I like that you took two two cultures of and meld it together in the name, and it just stands out to me when I first saw you guys' cymbals online. I'm like, and I saw the name. I'm like, I like that name.
Thanks.
It's catchy, and it has a meaning behind it as well, which I like.
It does. It does. In fact, the story about this project is like I always say, it's been such a great ride. All of what has happened,
Mm-hmm.
and this recent times. It grew. This project grew up so fast, so quickly, that you wouldn't even believe it. So the name came. It came to me because I'm in charge, of coming up with names for the symbol series and design and branding and all that. That's what I do. I that's something I really like to do. I pretty much stick my nose into everything that has to do with Azturk Cymbals, with the exception of numbers, which I'm not really good at. So that's for the co-owner. His name is Eddie Soto, and so a big shout out to my good friend Eddie Soto.
Mm-hmm.
That's is holding the fort for us back there in Tijuana. So yeah, that's how I came up with the name Azturk. It's a combination of words, Aztec because we're really proud of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I say this in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
We're really proud of our heritage, our roots, and everything. That's I always, the way I see things, I always thought that, if you know your history,
Mm-hmm.
you can really, rewrite everything and bring a better future for everything and everyone that surrounds you. So
Mm-hmm.
and Turk, because that's that's where our cymbals are made. So
yeah.
That's how I came up with the name.
That's cool. Yeah, and I like that. A nod to your culture, and and to especially if you're marketing cymbals, you want it to appeal to your demographic, and if you're based in Mexico City or in Mexico, you want your Mexican audience to see that and be like, oh, they identify with us, and and then to throw the Turk in there to say like it's good quality, because everybody knows that Turkish cymbals are the best quality cymbals you can get.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the way I see it is, we want to be a worldwide, a worldwide company,
Mm-hmm.
but we always want to remember where we come from,
Mm-hmm.
because that always will tell us where we want to go, and never forget where we come from.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way we see it,
Mm-hmm.
And so especially today, I want to thank you for the opportunity that you give me to to introduce ourselves to the audience,
Mm-hmm.
to the cymbal community, the drumming community, and this great show that you produce, and we're really excited that you give us the opportunity to appear on your show. So thank you very much.
Oh,
Dan.
no problem. I'm always honored to have anybody and everybody I can have on who have like I said, cymbals is such a it's not like making a drum. Drums are, they can be difficult to make, but for the most part they're pretty easy. Now cymbal, that's a little bit different. There's a lot of work and craftsmanship and time that go into making a cymbal. And
it's an art.
It's an art for sure. And so when did coming up with the idea to make your own cymbal company come about?
Well, first and foremost, I'm an entrepreneur. So is Eddie, and there is a great friend of ours. His name is Sakaona. He's not part of the project, but he was to be part of a project, and I would have been honored to have him on board, but it didn't come to fruition. And but the thing is that one day, we're entrepreneurs, and we have several, we run several businesses, and but they are like music related. I used to work on a business that used to produce press kits and websites for artists. And I also have like a drum shop back there in my town that I used to run along with Eddie. So this particular evening, I was sitting daydreaming and thinking about I always wanted to make a cymbal, and I was growing discontent with the way things are being done, both regarding all of that having to do with the quality and the way things are being run. Like the customer service is practically non-existent. You actually pay for a brand, but you're not paying for sound. The spirit, it has been taken away from cymbal making for the most part. So I was daydreaming, and then I opened my my messaging app on my phone, and I was like, why not having my own cymbal company? And then I sent this message to my friends and tell them, would you like to have your own cymbal company? And they were like, yeah, why not? Let's do it. And that's how it all started.
Nice.
And we started to to make it become a reality. That was back in April 2015.
Oh wow! Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it's been really it's happened very it all happened very fast. You wouldn't even know what happened. One day we would wake up in a different city or in a different country doing this kind of stuff, and we would be like, is this really happening? Are we really doing this? And so we started working towards this goal. We started making our cymbals with a very reputable provider, and that makes cymbals for a lot of different brands. But we wanted something more, and that's when we turned our heads to Turkey, and but going back to where it all happened, how it all happened, we started working. We had some savings, and we invested towards it. And back in January 5th of 2016, we opened the business. 2 hours later, we sold our first cymbal. I remember it was a 16-inch Legend Crash. It was a brilliant kind of cymbal, and the name of our first customer was Josue Martinez, and it went to the city of Cuautla, Morelos, Mexico. I remember all of that because we treat our customers not just like numbers or customers. They're like family to us. We treat them in such a way that we want them to be aware that they are part of something. We want them to be part of of all of what Azturk is and means.
Yeah.
So that's how it all happened. And we signed our first endorsers. We got the privilege to have, great musicians, great people, and amazing drummers. And so it's been growing. We've been selling cymbals all over the world already, and that's when it came. That's when the opportunity to turn our heads to Turkey. That this is when it happened. So one day, I said to Eddie, you know what? I think it's time to do something better, bigger, and something that is not just a great cymbal, but a piece of art. I think we want to do the best cymbals. The best cymbals that a drummer can have. So we got to talk to the master Mustafa the Real in Turkey, and he really liked our vision. He really liked what we wanted to do. So we were on the phone for like 5 hours talking. His son was translating for us, because I don't speak Turkish.
Yeah.
He doesn't really, speak Spanish or English. Yeah. And I had the opportunity to talk to him and, discuss about what we wanted to do. And sure enough, he sent us samples. We fell in love with the sounds and started to work with him. So we're really privileged to have one of the best cymbal masters in the world, a person who's created some of the series that for the biggest companies out there, the best-selling ones. And we pride ourselves on giving great customer service. We're always there for our customers. We pride ourselves on having great prices. We sell affordable cymbals and many other things that we saw on other companies that we didn't really like. Things that could be changed, things that could be improved, and that's what Azturk Cymbals is about. Since we're drummers too, we understand what drummers want. So we are here for sound. We're here to redefine sound. That's our mission.
Yeah, and that always helps. That you being a drummer, you have the ear for it. You have you know what you're looking for, and you know what, for the most part, drummers are looking for. And yeah, and I like your point about customer service, because there's no way I could get on with customer service with a bigger brand cymbal company and just talk to them. If I needed something, it would be very, like, oh, here's an email, we'll get back to you in 6 weeks or something like that.
No, well,
Yeah.
here it's not like that.
Yeah.
My commitment here, I act as a CEO of a company, but you wouldn't expect the CEO receiving calls and receiving messages and replying to all of them, not only during business hours but at any time of day. And that's my commitment. That's something I always want to do, regardless if we grow more or I always look up to people like Big Ferd, who used to do that. I got like big influences, big inspirations in the drumming industry. If I go by their names, I would never end mentioning them. But that's our mission. That's our mission. Our mission is always to provide the best customer service, regardless of what time is it, where we are, what we're doing. We're always there for our customers, and that's something like. That's one of the things that I really like about this. I would really like, other companies, to not automate, or, if you have a question, they will refer you to the FAQ on their websites.
Yeah.
And that will be about it. That's the only customer service you would ever get.
Yeah, and that can be irritating at times, because, sometimes you have a question you don't know how to quite, say over an email, or it's having a conversation would be a lot easier to explain what you're needing or what you're wanting, and I like that, and reaching out to you, it was super easy. It was just, hey. And then,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's and finding you guys on Instagram and just following you and seeing the cymbals and like you said, the cymbals they almost look like a piece of artwork. It's almost like you don't want to hit them. You're like, oh, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I feel bad hitting this beautiful crash right here, but it's a wonderful thing. And so what does 2017 hold for you guys? What's your hopes?
Well, I just have to continue to have the opportunity to do what I love, and what we love. That's like our biggest goal. The way I see this is because of what happened back, what happened last year. That we set our we aimed really high, and it went even higher. We don't like we are not like saying something specific that is going to happen, because it's going to be even better, and we are really fortunate to get the following from many drummers that are turning their heads to check out our sounds, and the way we do all of this. So I just really hope to continue to do what I love. I hope to continue to have the opportunity every morning, sit on my drum set, have my phone in my hand, play a little, and in between answering messages from you guys. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to continue to do. But as it goes for plans, well, we are traveling to Turkey, to meet in person, to be in person there at the factory, and and really look like see how everything is done, and see the process of how it's done and everything, learn from it, and continue from what I want to do is continue to learn from anyone and anybody who who's a drummer or is about to pick up the sticks, because we want to focus on education. We think that the only way to change the world is through education.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it plays such a big role on what we do. We want to focus on that. We really support drummers that are inspiring the new generations of drummers. We basically 9 out of 10 drummers that we have on our roster are educators.
Oh, okay.
And we're really into supporting their passion, so that they can nurture the drummers, the new generation of drummers, nurture their passion as well. So that's what we want to do. We want to focus on reaching out more and more drummers all over the world, and have them know our sounds and the way we do things, because we think that we are a very, very different drumming company, not your average cymbal company. That's what we want to do.
Yeah. And are you guys the only big cymbal distributor in Mexico? Because I'm trying to think, is there anybody else in Mexico that's doing Turkish cymbals other than you guys?
Well, matter of fact, we are the only Latin American cymbal company that I know of that manufactures their cymbals in Turkey.
Oh,
there
okay.
are other companies that are like in-house, in-house manufacturer back there in Brazil.
Okay.
And there's actually another cymbal company in Mexico that are that we really learn from them. We get inspired by what they do, and there's a really good spirit of competition. We are we respect each other. We know each other. So yeah, there's several different cymbal companies. In Mexico, there's only two, us and the other company. But the only cymbal company that manufactures cymbals in Turkey, Latin American based, is us.
Oh, nice.
Azturk Cymbals.
Cool. I was because I was doing a little bit of research, and I was trying to figure out if there was any other ones in the region, and I'm like, I don't see any other ones. But so that's good for you guys that you have that name. You can say we have Turkish cymbals, and that really, most drummers when they hear Turkish cymbals, they're like, oh, that means good. So, yeah.
Well, there's something very important that I like to talk about. We manufacture B20 cymbals in China as well. We have several series that are manufactured in China, and they're really, really great quality, and they're really, really affordable. And not all of our cymbals are manufactured in Turkey, but most of our series will be manufactured in Turkey. We currently have 10 series, which is composed of 6 original series that are made in China. We have 3 more series that are made in Turkey in a collection which we call Private Reserve. That is, it has different types of cymbals that range from the jazz sounding cymbals, from rock sounding cymbals, and everything in between. And we're planning also to expand our operations over there in Turkey. And everything is going really well. We're doing great, and we got great hopes that change the mindset of the drummers. Because we got great cymbals that are made on different places all over the world, but they got great quality. And matter of fact, we're actually thinking about expanding and doing something that it's not something that other companies will really like. We're gonna extend our warranty to we're gonna make it a limited lifetime warranty on the cymbals.
Cool.
And that's something that we want to have the drummers to see that they can trust something, because there is that misconception that the quality will not be the same as depending on where it's made. But we have great sounding cymbals that are affordable, and they currently have a 3-year warranty, which is actually more. It's actually it lasts more than several other companies that are out there that are already big names in the industry. So that's really important to us. We want to have drummers that are not spending money on cymbals, but are actually making an investment on cymbals.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense because investing in a cymbal, especially when we were growing up, it seemed like cymbals were more expensive back then than they are now. I don't know if that is true or not, but it seemed that way. And that you're investing, like you said, investing in a cymbal, and that could be a lifetime. I've got a cymbal in my room right now. It's 36 years old. Still going.
Yeah. Well, that's what we want to do. That's our vision. We want to, since like I said, we're drummers too. You wouldn't want a cymbal that is gonna break in 6 months. Yeah. And not have it replaced. You will feel that feels like robbery. And that's not something we want to do. We want to be known for what we are. We are an honest company that is run by honest people. Matter of fact, you can friend us personally on Facebook or follow us personally. Our personal social media accounts, because we want people. We want to be close to people, and like I said, treat people the way we want to be treated, the very same way.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's how we look at things,
Nice. Well, before we wrap up the interview, I always like to ask this question: do you have any other hobbies besides drums? I know some people it's always just drums, or are you into movies or hiking or things like that?
Well. Thank you for asking, but I'm actually I love drums from every angle, whether it is repairing drums or trading, selling, recording them, anything that has to do with drums, I love it. Especially cymbals. So Well, when it comes, when it comes to hobbies or stuff we do on our free time, we don't actually have any free time. We are like we never stop. That's the reason that we were able to reach such high altitudes. When it comes to being on the drumming industry, that we are growing. But we're still growing, but we're growing really fast.
Yeah.
And I think you can actually attest to that. We're growing extremely fast. And whenever I have the chance, I like gaming. I like to play games with my son. I like to spend time with my son and my daughter. I spend time with the wife. Actually, I take the time to give it a big shout out because that's real important to me. My wife Adriana, she's been behind me for all of these years, and I really hope that all of us drummers get the opportunity to have such a loving partner in our life, because she supported me. Even though I told her when we got married, you'll never have like a real living room in your house. Are you okay with that? Yeah. She was like, yeah, I love you, so I will, I will accept that, So it's real important, So my biggest hobby is not it's not actually a hobby. It's my way of life, Is drumming, and is serving other drummers. That's what I do best, and that's what I wouldn't do for a living, and that's actually what I do for a living.
Yeah, I hear that, and having the supportive wife, because I do too, because I've got 3 kids, and she's very understanding of me doing this, because I work full time, working in a warehouse, putting up boxes all day, so when I get the chance to talk to drummers and people that make drums and are involved in the industry, I'm like, it's such a joy. And so but yeah, she's totally appreciative, or understanding of what I do and what I'm trying to accomplish as well.
And that's such a blessing, and you know that firsthand, you know that's such a blessing, and it's something that I wouldn't want to, I wouldn't trade the world for it,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because there's those days you're like, ugh, and and she calms me down. It's like it's gonna be okay. Things are gonna work out. So cool. Well, so where can people find your cymbals again?
All right. Well, you can always visit us at Facebook.com /Azturk Cymbals. You can find us on pretty much any social network like YouTube, Instagram. If you look us up as Azturk Cymbals, and our website, which is under construction, is AzturkCymbals.com. It currently redirects you to Facebook. But we're always there. We're 24/7 there, and we speak both Spanish and English. So if you see content in Spanish, don't worry. You can always send us a message, and you'll get you will get me on the other side of the of the internet. So yeah, you can always find us on the internet as Azturk Cymbals, AzturkCymbals.com, Facebook.com /Azturk Cymbals.
Nice. Yeah, because I've put up a couple of posts, and you where you've had it in Spanish, and then you'll do it in English as well. So I like that. And I remember you did a couple of Facebook Lives where you did it Spanish and then went to English. So that's cool, and and that just gives your audience another way to reach out to you. If you know Spanish, you can reach more people, and if you know English, you can reach a lot as well. So that's great. I wish I knew Spanish so bad, because it'd be handy.
Well, that would be great, and if I like to extend the invitation, we could do like a like a new live episode on our Facebook page, and have you as a special guest. It will be our honor. It will be
cool.
Such a great privilege.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. I would be honored. Yeah, but yeah, everyone who's listening, go check out Azturk Cymbals. The like just the look. I just anytime I see him on Instagram, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I love that look. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it then. Thank you very much.
And I've gone to your YouTube page and listened to the stuff, and it's great, and I like this community of people, of we can reach out to each other, and and it's not about I don't know, it's just this whole drumming community just blows my mind every day how awesome it is. And getting the chance to talk to people like you and other drummers and stuff like that, it's such an honor.
Well, the pleasure is mine, and thank you for having us. Thank you for your time. And well, I want to invite everybody to check out the Drumheads podcast on their social networks. Such a great resource for all of us drummers. I actually enjoy it very, very much because I get to see companies out there in the world. You have such great content, and well, keep up the good work. Good work.
Thank you. Well, let me go ahead and hit me stop the recording real quick. So see you guys, and thank you, Eric, for being on. So we'll see you guys here soon. Hey guys, be sure to check out our Instadrum Awards that we're doing here on Instagram. I wanted to start something. Adam and I had this idea a little bit back to start a Instagram related drum thing. It's not like we're actually going to give a physical award to these companies or to these drummers or whatnot. It's just more of a to recognize their work and their efforts and their contributions to the drumming community. So if you could go vote, you could go take our online survey. It's just a Google sheet. If you don't know the answer, you can skip it. If you don't have I don't have my own favorite independent drumstick company, it's okay, you can skip it, go down the answers you like, but you can also comment on the pictures I put up on Instagram. We're gonna do this probably up until probably about maybe February 6th or something like that. We'll cut it off, make sure every category's been covered, and then so we can tally the comments, tally the survey, and so we can probably Adam and I will do the podcast together and talk about who won, and then congratulate it's not a competition of we are the best. It's more or less we're all just trying to just say thank you to all the great companies that are on Instagram and doing their thing, and inspiring all of us, including myself. And if you see the one for favorite drumming podcast, please do not vote for this one. That would not be fair. Please vote for many of the other wonderful drumming podcasts that are out there as well. And also favorite Instagram drum feed. Don't vote for us either. There's 10 times better ones than mine. Go vote for Chris at Drummer's Guide to Gear. Go vote for Josh over at Drummer's Corner, or Mike with Snare Drum Freak. Any of those guys do so much cooler stuff than I do. But please don't vote for us. That would not be fair. So please go do that, and I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Hey, guys. If you're ever interested into donating to the podcast to help with the costs, you could go to our PayPal account. It is www.paypal.me/thedrumheadspod. And if you could, contribute whatever you can, it does really help going to the podcast and going to help pay for some of the expenses that come up with the podcast. It continues to help bring you the free content, but it'd be nice to have sometimes a little help. So if you ever want to donate like $1, $5, $1,000, $1 million, just saying, you can go to our PayPal account and do that as well. But also, if you can't do that, please go leave, positive reviews on iTunes. Go subscribe to us on iTunes. You can go follow us on all of our social media. So go follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. Go check out all the previous episodes we have. You can go to iTunes and check out all the previous episodes. You can also go to the YouTube channel, you can actually, I've made it now where you can actually listen to the podcast on YouTube. So if you're at a computer, you're not, you're at work, you can bring up the YouTube page and it'll play the whole podcast interview I've done going back for a while. So all those ways are great ways you can contribute to the podcast. So any way you can would be great, and I would love you forever. Thank you.